Firstly, I want to take a moment to thank all of the presenters. You have truly made this convention what it is today. I have a couple questions for you, and the questions have been asked multiple times already today. So I'm sorry you have to answer one more time. If you don't want to answer, that's okay. My first question for you is, does anybody here have children? Lovely, lovely. I expected that from a parent conference or caregiver conference. Does anybody here today have no children? Okay. I'll also raise my hand to that one. Is anybody here a caregiver in the community or a caregiver to a loved one? Absolutely. That's what I was expecting. Now, my last question for you, you don't have to raise your hands for it. Who is your safe space? Who do you go to when the clouds are so gray and so dark that the thunderstorms are coming at you? Who do you go to? Who is your superhero in your day-to-day life? Just think on that for the next little bit here as we dive in. And I'm hoping, rather assuming, that you can tell by that last question, as well as by the title of this presentation, we're going to be speaking about superheroes today. Now, I'm not talking about superheroes with capes or costumes or big dramatic entrances, but I'm talking about real life superheroes, the ones I'm looking at in this room right now. A real life superhero isn't easy to spot because a real life superhero doesn't announce themselves. Each person in this room is already a superhero in someone else's story. You may not feel like one. You may not identify with one, but somewhere, someone, you show me with the raise of hands, that someone orientates themselves around you. In the movies, superheroes are easy to spot. They fly, they fight, and they always arrive at the exact right moment. And man, do I wish I had that power. I really, really do. And I'm sure a lot of us do. But that's not real life. We are human. We're not superheroes. Not in the sense that we have invisibility or that we can fly across the world. In real life, it looks like staying calm when someone else can't. It looks like noticing what others miss. Like being the first that people look for, not because you're loud, but because you're steady. And that steadiness, that's the power. That's the power that you use every day without realizing it. What makes a real life superhero hard to recognize is, like I say, they don't announce themselves. We don't get theme music. We don't get cool costumes. As much as I wish that I could wear a fun costume to work all day, I don't get that opportunity. Our powers are relational. Our powers move through tone, through presence, through timing. By us being there with that person, that's our power. Being a superhero in real life means that we don't overpower moments. We stabilize them. By the time you leave this room today, the hope is not that you the hope is not that you don't become someone new. It's that you realize that you already are that person. And again, how often you're actually using that power. So, what is caring? What does it mean to be a caregiver? Care rarely announces itself. It looks like a chair pulled closer or a person invited in. It feels like a pause instead of a reaction. It's a decision to stay a little bit longer, even if you're uncomfortable. It's sitting beside someone who's had a hard day, or it's sitting beside someone who's going to pass away. For both of those people, it's making sure that they are not alone. It's nothing dramatic on the surface. It's no big declaration of, look at me, I'm this amazing caregiver and I'm doing all these great things. Pat me on the back. No, being a caregiver, a true superhero, means doing things quietly and in the softness. It's in every meaningful touch, every meaningful moment that you have with the person that you care for. Yet even as you present, As a caring caregiver, life still is hard. It's not easy. It's trying. It's exhausting. And every single day, you wake up and you get out of bed and you keep on going. And that's not easy. It's not going to be easy. But yet here you are, because that's who you are. What keeps you going? Well, it's courage. Courage often hides in routine. It's returning again and again and again to a job, paid or unpaid. You still return, even if they're asking the world of you. It's admitting big emotions without adding to them. It's choosing steadiness when things could easily escalate. It's understanding that anger holds fear's hand, whether that's anger or a negative emotion from being or an experience you're experiencing. It's understanding that you are doing the best that you can with the knowledge and skills that you have on your tool belt. It's the kind of courage that it doesn't call attention to itself. It holds the line quietly. Now, leadership doesn't wear tight. Sometimes it looks like meeting someone where they are, or slowing your pace so another person can keep up with you, or it's knowing when sometimes silence is better than advice. Leadership lives in everyday moments. You don't need a title to be a leader. Being a leader comes from the inside. It comes from the experience and wisdom that you're taking in and learning every day, that you're doing that right now in this moment. It comes from the people that we look up to. Everybody, when you're growing up as a child, and even today, have role models. Maybe it's your boss. Maybe it's a coworker. Maybe it's a friend. Maybe it's your partner. Maybe your role model is your children. But does your role model know that they are your role model? And you told them? Or are they your role model internally? And do you look up to them quietly? Being a leader sometimes means doing things that go unnoticed, but never subconsciously. People do look up to you. Think about a child discovering strength for the first time, a body that moves faster than it's expected, a voice that suddenly fills a room, or you're given a microphone. Either one. Their emotions are alive without warning. There's no instructions, there's no malice, and there's no guide. It's raw, unfiltered power. They haven't learned how to control that yet. So, inevitably, things will tip over. Tears will come quickly. And a lot of times, everyone will feel a little bit unsteady in that environment. But it's not because something is wrong. It's because growth is loud before it's coordinated. That part of the brain that slows our mind down is still under construction. So it's easier to feel feelings than it is to be logical. Now, you may look at me and think, what is this 20-something-year-old going to tell me about being a caregiver? I don't have children, and that's fair. So what am I going to tell you about being a parent? What I am is a daughter. What I am is a person. What I am is a loved one who is a caregiver to her parents, to young clients in the community. I know what it feels like to be frustrated, to be overwhelmed, to be so overwhelmed that you think that if one person asks you to do one more thing, you're going to explode. We've all been there. We've all experienced that. But in those moments, what helps is not control. It's proximity. Proximity to someone who doesn't flinch, to someone who stays calm when the moment is ending well. Proximity to someone who offers steadiness instead of urgency. The message isn't always spoken, but it is felt. Much of life teaches us to stand on our own, to manage, to push through. My mom always used to say, don't open the can of the worms, sit around the shelf. Well, just there. But sometimes those worms need to be opened up a little bit. When we're at the beginning of our life and the end of our life and the middle of our life, what sustains us is not isolation or independence, it's connection. It's a steady presence, a shared moment, a sense that leaning in is allowed and not will be looked down upon. And that strength often looks like a shared weight. In care work, education, healthcare, families, communities, the most meaningful moments rarely come from perfection. They come from attention, noticing what's being said and what's not being said, from adjusting your pace, walking beside someone rather than walking ahead. Dignity lives in those moments, and so does trust. So, how do we name the superpower? What is your superpower? When I was preparing this presentation, I found a story told by a woman named Leah. It's very brief, so bear with me. Caregiving is emotionally draining, even on good days. I often feel I have nothing left to give. Sometimes I don't even have the emotional energy to respond to a text or make a phone call. I'm sure many of us here feel that same way. As we come closer to the end of our time together, it's important to name this clearly. Your superpower is not endless energy. Your superpower is not having the right answer at the right time. It's not doing everything perfectly. Your superpower is this. When things feel overwhelming to others, you make them manageable. When emotions run high, you slow them a little bit down. When someone feels lost, you help them find their way. When a situation gets tempted to fear or isolation, you bring it back to humanity. That is not accidental. That is a skill. That is your superpower. This is how superheroes work in real life, not by overpowering a moment, but by stabilizing it, by becoming the setting point that others can orient themselves around. And the thing about this time power is that it travels. People carry it with them. They use it with their children, with their brothers, with their coworkers. The next person who needs steadiness, I guarantee that you'll be able to provide that to them. I'm going to rattle off some names here. Give me some head nods like you've heard of them before. Superman. Batman. Batman? All right, I'll call you Batman. And then Wonder Woman. Superman couldn't be Superman without Lois Lane. Batman couldn't be Batman without Robin. Wonder Woman could not be Wonder Woman without her little village of women who to help support and guide her. As you leave here today and back into the rest of the conference, back into your real world lives, I hope that you carry this with you. You don't need to do more. You already are. You don't need to be louder. You don't need to become someone else. You already have a superpower. Every time you help another person feel safe enough to breathe, think, or continue, you're using your power. So, I'll ask you one last time. Who is your safe space? Who is your superhero in your day-to-day lives? Because I can guarantee you that you are that person to someone else.